So there's quite a few parts that I haven't posted about or just kept update about, even though I've had them for a really long time. Like this intercooler, I got it like maybe shortly after my last few videos, and it's a CX Racing same side intercooler. Um, and I've already tested it and pretty much figure out how the intercooler piping is gonna go. The first time I did it, it was kind of like not the best positioning, and I found out a better position by sliding it behind the hood latch. But it's pretty much just like a universal CX Racing intercooler, same side, because the turbo where it sits and the throttle body is going to be on the same side, which I also have to relocate the battery for. But that's the intercooler. And then in this box is intercooler piping, basically. So, interesting enough, some of it is like this part, which is going to be going from part of the intercooler. It's just an engine cold air intake for a Tiburon. So, my current eBay like cold air intake, the position it runs, is gonna be in a way of turbo. I was originally gonna plan on using that instead, but this actually runs perfectly to where it'll bypass the area where the turbo sits. And I actually got this for pretty much free, and I just had to pay shipping. Someone, a fellow friend on Instagram gave me this. So it's an engine cold air intake, which is honestly one of the best ones they sold for Tiburon. That's the bottom half. This is the top half. And then here goes like the rest of the intercooler piping, which this is a blow off valve insert that's going to go in between this pipe and that pipe, where the mass airflow sensor used to go. Because this car is no longer going to be MAF based, it's going to be MAP based when it's on Mega Squirt. So it's that part, and this is just the rest of the intercooler piping. It's a 90 or 180 degree bend, they clear part of the car, and then I have another 120 degree bend, and then this straight, I'll just go straight from the turbo into the top of the intercooler. So should be an interesting setup when it all comes together, which is hopefully I'm aiming for spring this time. So also I ended up getting, I bought these. This is a On3 Performance blow-off valve and wastegate, which this is a blow-off valve. And I got this off someone I used to work with, and they were in pretty much almost new condition, only a few scratches here and there. And this is like a Tile Q knockoff, kind of, or like clone. But it's really still good quality. And the wastegate is in decent quality too. It's missing the bolt, but I can just get that. But if you look at this thing was barely used, because on his car it was too small, which is a big turbo Camaro, which a 44 millimeter gate, of course, it's not gonna be enough when you're making all that horsepower. But for my little 2.7 liter, it should be more than enough. And it's really nice quality. It just dumps out. I'll show you on the new turbo setup. And then I was lucky enough to get this, and I bought this off someone I know. This is a Next Generation Motorsports 70 mil throttle body billet. See, yeah, if it'll focus. NGM. I bought this off of fellow Tiburon member, and actually came off one of the highest horsepower supercharged Tiburons that we so far know of. I was originally just going to get like an eBay universal to make a bigger throttle body, but this way is so much easier because I can just basically bolt it up. So that's like one part of like the equation for the upper intake manifold, which I still have to get one made. And then in this box I have a ported lower intake manifold, which is in pretty good condition. I got this also for free. I just had to pay for shipping because someone in the group wanted to just offer me something for helping people with their questions every now and then. But this actually came off of, or I first thought this was an NGM ported lower, but it ended up being one of the Fastco Motorsports lower intake manifold, which the Fastco Motorsports are like the cars from Canada. They're like 3 of the cars. They're exactly the same. They're all motor. Originally Hyundai Motorsports cars from Canada, but they end up making like 265 all motor with like this intake and a modified upper, which I don't have. I have to get one made. I'm gonna probably use a stock intake manifold and modify that, so that should help. And then for fueling, I actually got these bad boys from Fuel Injector Clinic. These are actually 1,000cc injectors, which are typically meant for like a G35 to not R35, a R35 and a G35, and just anything VQ or VR. But these basically have the same injector height as OEM injectors, so they fit the rail. And originally these have the same connector as these, but when you swap to these style injectors, which is the Bosch EV14 injectors, they change the connector even for like the GTR stuff. So in this box they have all the connectors that you would need to adapt your harness to. And the nice thing about like these injectors and why you don't cheap out is they flow test them and make sure they're flow matched. So this paper right here says like all the specs that I need to put into the ECU and everything. Should focus. So yeah, so it shows all the flow numbers, flow test numbers, so I can actually also place the injectors where I want, which number 4 and 3 are the hottest, so I'll probably put the 2 highest flowing injectors, which they're all numbered and labeled which injector is which. I can place them where I want, just to help with things. So that's one thing. And then also I got, this box is empty because this is the box that the AM AFR gauge was in, but I also got an AM boost gauge that's in here for the open. So that should help. And I can't remember if you guys still remember, but the turbo I have is just like a eBay GTX 3582R with a .82 housing. Still in decent condition. Get out the plastic. So still pretty. So technically this would be the same as like a 62 precision, almost, like, because it's 62 on the inducer and 62 on the exducer back here. This actually has a support bracket on it now for what I'm about to show you guys. So if you guys don't mind all that nasty wiring, I'm rewiring the Mega Squirt because a few things I've noticed that it's been causing me issues when I tune it. Also, yeah, the tune on the Mega Squirt was kind of off, like the timing was too low and whatnot. So I redid all of that and it runs a lot better, but I've been having TPS issues, which I found out I had wired 12 volts to TPS sensor instead of 5, and that's what's causing all the noise. But other than that, the tune was fine. Like, it would drive normally, except like on tip-in, it would spike rich for a second sometimes. But anyways, the main thing about this whole entire video is the hot side, which probably looks a lot different to you guys or anyone that actually remembers because it's been so long. But I got this whole thing redone because nothing sat right, and this was so janky originally. Like, it was regular steel welded to stainless, but now, like, all this is stainless, 2-inch vibrant flanges. This primary runner is a lot longer than it originally was. It was only maybe like this long originally, and then it came into the pipe at a weird angle, so it would flow in and just hit here, like hit this wall, and some air would go back that way. It's just how ATP designed it, and then the guy who I bought the headers off of, he just butchered it together like as best he could. But so I got it redone because I was just gonna get like this redone so the turbo can sit right and not backwards, but I just decided to redo it all. So now it's a lot smoother, even back here, a lot smoother. And all this is 2-inch into the tapers back up to 2.5 right here. All this is 2.5. But like, also, yeah, this is wider, this hole is wider to accommodate for this pipe coming in at an angle instead of going straight in there. So it flows better. This is no longer a sketchy slip joint, and then it just goes up. This is original still up until this point, but he reorientated it so I can have like a frontward style facing turbo. I'll try to put like a picture in there of how it should look and how it will sit. Also, he made a 3-inch downpipe. I think this is the bottom half of it. This is the top half of the downpipe. This is a 2-piece to make it easier to remove. So all of this was made by my buddy Gregory, fellow Tiburon owner. He does awesome, amazing stuff. With his Tiburon, his is a Rally Cross Tiburon currently. Built motor, NA, a whole bunch of good stuff. But anyways, this is the top half of the downpipe, and it has his little initials on it because I accidentally put it on there. And here goes the bottom half of the downpipe, all 3-inch stainless, has a vibrant turbo flex joint, same as the Y pipe, which is a lot better. All this is a lot better. I even have a downpipe originally. I had to get that made. And also have a little screamer pipe that he was able to make. A little teardrop. I didn't even know he was gonna make this. Like, or at least not the teardrop. I knew it was gonna be open dump from actually gonna sit. The way it's gonna sit right there, and it's gonna dump down like that. But I'm interested in seeing how this thing will sound since it's on equal link with DC headers. I know someone else with a setup like that, but ours are still different lengths, even though being both unequal length, but should give it like an interesting sound. So I have some spare parts in that box that I'm gonna show also. So in this box, it's the leftovers from the old Y pipe, which this was the front half originally. It was like this long. So this was regular mild steel welded to stainless, and kind of hard to see, but there's a lip. Yeah, you can see it there. There's a lip in there. Where the guy had just shoved a pipe in there. So it was only maybe like this long originally, and Gregory moved the whole Y pipe over, and it's higher up, so it won't like hit anything. So this should help with flow a lot, because the front bank primary is a lot longer, so the exhaust gases can get up to speed a little bit and not come at an angle like this, because it's originally like this versus how it is now since he moved everything over. The rear was not much better. It was a little bit better, but not much better. You can kind of see it's already rusting on the inside. And yeah, it also has a lip right there where air can just hang on. This is like the original slip joint. This is all leftover parts, leftover 3-inch. This is an adapter I had bought originally, because like the flange for the turbo was originally like this, and that was my issue. That would only really work if you put the turbo backwards like ATP intended. And I bought this to try to reorientate the turbo, but I ended up putting it up too high. So now it's like front facing, like, because the turbo sits like that. There's a lot of leftover parts, leftover 3-inch pie cuts. I think this is like 2-inch. Just a whole bunch of leftover parts. But over here, got the headers, which are stripped down to bare metal because I wanted to repaint these. I even think like you guys saw how originally I had repainted these with just header paint, and it looked decent, but like I knew it was gonna flake. So now I want to get it ceramic coated. So I stripped them. I had to sandblast the headers and the rest of the piping, and also the turbine housing needs to be sandblasted so it can all get coated. And then in this box I have like the support bracket for it that he made, and some of the wastegate dump V-band clamps. There's also V-band clamps in this, but that's pretty much most of everything, to be honest. But main thing is the whole setup is a lot nicer. It should be more efficient. Definitely should still hit my goal of 400 wheel. So originally I was planning on using the engine that's in the car currently, but I said to myself, if it goes over 150,000 miles, I get a spare. I actually have a spare motor in the garage with 88,000 miles that I'll be using. Really low miles. I was lucky enough to find that for dirt cheap at the junkyard. Pulled it. And that's what I'm going to use to boost the car now. So I want to get all this ready, like recoated and nice. And then I'm going to pull the motor, put the spare one in, put the Mega Squirt back in, make sure the base tune is complete, which is pretty close. Like it should be a lot better and should be decently spicy. It's gonna be on 6 pounds for now until I can get it retuned and turn it up more. But I want to get all this ready, so then put the motor in and put all this on afterwards, and then hopefully springtime is what I'm aiming for. And I'll really try to keep you guys posted instead of waiting like a couple years to do a video. So I think this is the end of the video.